Et le vent du nord les emporte dans la nuit froide de l'oubli. It's from Les Feuilles Mortes de Jacques Prévert. The leaves. Memories like leaves as if a tree to climb, the leaves and needles varied, pleasure and pain. Each taste, each flavor, strong as blood, and songs that live in times and scenes. I love the fall with its colors and showers of touch, and the beginning of chill and the chill of beginning are spices for awakening of hoping to drink all in life. To feel again the touch, unfelt the first time round, that brushed my cheek or struck my jaw, some strokes. I fold the moments into origami jokes and dances, hoping they'll advance the mission, heed the call. The other passengers are also on or in my mind, the ones I sometimes think are moods, and they were there. Time vibrates, stretches, and shrinks, but can be held. I hold time in my heart, my lives saved in its folds. I nurse the little flame that I would help to grow, for all of life is a bonfire, big as God and full of memory, and understanding some of it may come. I once danced with a young girl and saw that she performed, that as she danced, she gave herself, her love, her dance, to all the world, to us, to me. This is called Flying Downstate. The weekend was adventurous in a small way, down through the pine barrens towards Egg Harbor. We passed through hamlets with 5 churches, 2 bars, and 3 liquor stores, population 42. And pine woods raised a saber arch we glided through, though we were no soldiers, hippies though not legendary. The wine came in an odd-shaped bottle, a lady's leg, with a bosom. Her thick, wavy, chestnut brown hair stroked her shoulders, and no thought of endings or romantic love of melancholy solemnified our airy joy. We knew each other's bodies well, talked about sex a lot, made love in different ways. Relationship, that awful and teacherly word that takes what's warm and personal and in our minds and in our pants and neuters it and gives it shame. Her nakedness was like home in every hill and nook and cranny. We didn't talk about the future much. Hippies, you know. As we were leaving, we saw a dead sparrow by the footpath and its mate standing watch beside, alone. We put our arms around each other, heads down as we left, shared attention to what we had for that brief time. All the years later, we remembered the birds. The omen was a metaphor. Okay, a quote from Sainte Thérèse de Lisieux. I am daringly confident that one day I shall become a great saint. First trip in consequence. The mysteries and miseries of life, the lack of understanding of the rules and of the vindications of God's love and will were all that Leary needed that could lead us to his book, a black and green and red quarto, a manual for death adapted from far off, that later generations would refuse to be infected by, refuse the numbered bardos of a ritualized false death, rebirth, and life renewed, transforming us practitioners into something else. Why is their laughter not cosmic? Why are they not reborn? Peter was experienced, so he had to come along. Me and Ricky weren't. We had to have a guide, so said the book, for even lab fresh Hoffman could go wrong, could lead a young curmudgeon like myself into bad luck. But confusion was the thing that brought most danger to the game. Ricky spent the tie-dyed, swirling hours laughing at life's foolishness, while I sat with a gut full of pain and burning anger, hating all the past. Peter sat bored at the lack of a plot, playing Sharon Rani on the stereo. I did transform a thing. No more greasy hair and maybe smile a little more. The greaser drag no longer cool enough to make one's way to hip. Then I was in the coat, allowed to use the slang, deserving of the hair. But still there was much further in, a deeper trip to take, and other colored dreams, the waking dreams of clearer sight, the hunt for attic treasures or a family curse. And meanwhile, fun, adventure, boozy fucks to while away the boring real. So much there was to learn of uppers, downers, wet and dry heads, choices coming every day in traps and dangers, dressed in plain clothes, worn over blue, so stupid they were dangerous in their fake erudition. After that first trip, things changed. The walls came down, the quest came out. Brief period of mourning for the sloughed off essence. Oh, we're not the all. And the search for meaning became the search for fun and winning back. Lost teenage years replaced the search for sainthood. The acid broke me down, permitted me to dare to choose another trail, break through the chains and walls. The spell was cast and all the thoughtless future stretched beyond regret. Morose and penitential grief for nothing, aching fear, obedience, and the slave's despair. The pupils of my eyes, like Redon in a balloon, now aimed for a flaming infinity. Y'all remember? Okay, quote from Rumi. This place is a dream, only a sleeper considers it real. Then death comes like dawn and laughing at what you thought was your grief. It must be for something, it must have a meaning, but substitutes tell nothing. Music going on all the same. The melody is here in the trees or raining down, swirling the luscious liquid melancholy hidden behind the gamey hoax. The time it took uncoiling roads and searching for the thing it was is now support for what we needed way back when in older times. There's always been a time for, as they call it, fun and sport, and now the season's closing down to caves wherein we'll hear the chimes. How are you now? What can you love? Have you found the secret word? The times are right, the call's to come. We'll hear the last trump soon. The clarion call has been put in the air and the dawn must break. It is for this, redemption for the sin of hate. It shall be seen, our eyes must clear. The love might have a meaning then, cleansed of all the makeup and the garbage, tarting up the total sales. Or else all history leads up to nothing more than money and numbers and lines. Okay, eukaryote was something they call the first living thing, our ancestor. Yeah. So forests have underground, this is called eukaryote forced us on to this. Forests have underground networks and talk, but what do they say? Do they love? And do we? It seems there's a mother, if that is the word, who counsels and comforts and helps. Trees have 2 sexes or 3, determined in 4 different ways. And this gives me pause. Is a mother a she or a they? A forest of different species is still one community, except for black walnut or the sugar tree maple, enemy of the pale spruce and the weak yellow birch. And if those trees could move or even could march, would the woods be a battleground, a theater of crime? Is domestic abuse there a problem? For trees can form couples. With an increase of knowledge comes an increase in dreams. With an increase in dreams comes an increase in fantasies. What if, and what if? Think now of the kingdom of plants. What if the animal kingdom were merely a dream or a nightmare? What if we are but holograms, but not of some aliens born in 4D, nor gods, no higher order of video nerds, but of dreams and nightmares sexually dramatized by fears and phantasms, run by neuroses and rages, suicidal urges, whimsies, humor, and ironical bent of the trees? They do not move, they grow, frustrated by some itch they cannot scratch. They've dreamt us up as they were dreamed up by the goodly kernels from which we all descend. One of those seeds made virtual, the other moving one twin phantomized for freer movement from the older stolid one. Our wars and crimes, our cruelty and greed are dreamt by trees, our love. If the walking pine trees could walk from the Sumaco Reserve in Ecuador to Europe, would they colonize? Just because they walk, or just dream of us? One late device of humankind, creation of black walnut, is proving poison to the rest. A dream of fear, rogue tree-dreamt power is destroying man and trees alike. Neurosis born by forest mind is now destroying, will destroy that mind. And when it dies, then so die we. The dreamer's death will kill the dream. Just what is the dream we might call humankind's? What have we created, proving we're not murderous golems, purpose made? There's music and poetry. Poetry's bragging like dance, and there's war. Do the forests think? Do they have poetry, music, maybe mental dance? From the time we made metal in cities by pillaging the ground, all our inventions have weakened us each. Too late now. The trees subconsciously generated robots must hate our creator's world. We treat it so badly and listen so easy to talk about progress and growth and of jobs made for slaves. When the forests are gone and the last trees are forced to awake, they will then cease to dream. They will dream us no more. Heart's desire. Like a spring day in the dying winter, shall we throw the curtains up, tugging the sash? Like a moment at a new adventure start, shall I try to get my land legs back, risking the light? As the weather now will treat us kindly, shall I drink the air in deep until it won't? On days like this, that promise ransom of what's lost and hued with past, should I savor, should I charge? On a roll of things and happenstance, the outlook seems indefinite, unlike heroic wounds. The continents of situations seem unbounded. Do they deserve the exploration of a harrowing mind? Invisible clouds still follow behind the plowshare, but the furrows lead on to the plow. What road must I take? Okay. This is called Nameless. I stand in a tall building, up on a balcony like an eye in a cyclops's head. The ready-made city spreads itself before me, off to the sides and at the back of my eyes. I consider what disjunction would be necessary to cut the necessary sentence in the middle. I press my tongue against the double tomb rows of the lined-up teeth. Deep down inside, I grip my ribs like prison bars, or like a bathysphere diver. You choose. A firefly whirs and busses around the porthole skylight. The city flaps in fish flops like a roach on the riverbank. My heartbeats dodge and hide from each other. In my mind, I walk through forest, dodging the rock in my shoe. Grass springs up on both sides of the path. I walk into the forest. At the edge of sky, statues kneel with the weight of their stoniness, as inside the stone, the atoms rage, alive. How am I doing for time, David?
You are only at 13 minutes.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. This is called In Yellow Concert, Blue Conclusion. In the bright wood stood the larder tree, which the green man shepherded well, and our great mother, round and soft, could still smile on refugees from metal, the evaders of severity from evil chiefs and kings. The green he wore was loved by all the live, and in the world the priests and warriors alone disliked the love that the animals and others had for the figure opposed to their pretty and cannibal projects and plans. But the trees and the grasses are dumb and still, can be used to chain up their movements and minds. The colors are pleasant, but not of a piece. We can take them and even them out to be used, said the priests. The green was usurped and then flattened and long to a squalid idea from a minor and abstract god who knew he could grow with some progress and greed to be worshipped by idiots resentfully longing for power and girls. So they filled us with snickers and anger and japes and with sneers and the violence of cops, so that laughter was theirs and was smut. For the discourse of reason is wrong for their cause and their version of green, since nobility is only a copyright word for their soul in public use. Can we ever reclaim the green and regain the right to exist and breathe? Can the jokers be silenced, return to their holes in the ground? Will we ever again know the seasons and wander the forests and seas? Or will buying and selling soon strip it all bare for the glass and steel concrete of their debt to death? This is called Butterfly. The butterfly is here. I saw it yesterday. Followed me round the room, lit on my shoulder, fluttered, fluttered, zapped out of sight, turned a corner back into view or hearing. Building a nest for the butterfly took an hour. Found the materials, put it together, bought a loom for the silk. I made a shirt, I wove a hat. The colors come from ink I had. I love the butterfly. Tonight I seek a moth. Okay. Okay, this is a warning. There are bad words in here. This is called Mockingbird Hill, a quote from Isak Dinesen. I do not know about it, Mira. I hardly ever dream, said Lincoln. Oh, Lincoln, live forever, said old Mira. You dream indeed more than I do myself. Mockingbird Hill. Close your eyes and drift away from the extortionate soundings of modern life. You'll see the faces come, maybe tempting, but don't hold on to anyone. Or you could go deeper, plunge into your head. Whose voices do you hear? Are they real as politicians on the air? Your time is now, it's not allowed. The words you hear not filtered out in Swedenborg's past lives as lived by fools like us in dreams we thought were real, not printed up and given out like lives. Go get a job, cause misery is virtue. Or haven't you been listening for these past 2,000 years? Whose voices do you hear? Now close your eyes and listen up. Communist, pedophile, macho, faggot, bitch, all those opaque words good morals hide. Maggot, freedom, God, Jesus, justice, tail, wag it. Whose voices do you hear? Whose orders in your ear? Then my heart fills with gladness when I hear the trill of the birds in the treetops on Mockingbird Hill. Man's home is his castle and my mind is my own, though privacy is a thing of the past. Yeah, right, of the past. Okay. Oscar Wilde said, yes, I am a dreamer, for a dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. Moonscape in a picture frame. I dream to try to grasp the universe I'm swimming through, to honor the confusion of the daily breaching of mind's walls. The code is somewhere else in a book of charms, in a text for first year psych. Is mind the nugget or the gravy boat, the almond or the hull? The world I live in or that lives in me seems a shadow play, played out by ghosts that live in flesh machines that seem to feel, whence comes the thought of timeless soul, of immortality indeed. The invention of affection was ennobling to us apes, but still a fickle chance byproduct of a time when life in the world became an easier game. And then the strife of intellect, the clash with beef-bred politics. Oh, would that magic were a mystic force that worked for real. I'd cast a spell upon mankind to turn them into trees and lakes. Those dreams I have of verified routines so oddly unfamiliar in my sleep beguile me with their dust and lack of rich display some people like, as if my doubts were justified by concomitance with the state I see. When glory comes into the world, I'll dream, I hope, of palace gardens, songs decrypting God and time, bodies smooth and joined in meadows, angels winged and chiming, miracles and wonders, dances all the world. For now, the dusty room, the dusty road, the journey to a fictive past our keys to somewhere, codes to disarrange the locked up sometime day that keeps its rules, its frugal reign of gravity and logic, lying gods and whist. But once I dreamt I was a lion gliding across the sky on ample raven's wings. Okay. Okay. They Succumb from Overabundance, written by Benjamin Labatut, in When We Cease to Understand the World. To plant a new tree. The turning leaves remind, forewarn, will the shortened days blossom and glow once again? I cherish the feeling of spring that remains, but I worry the branches and roots of the tree. So many questions and so much to wonder. The scope of the mind grows, but what of the mind? We see the mouths of rivers, traps and doorways everywhere, but need to struggle hard to find a path. And if we are not loved, what prize can call and what response to what we feel unjust? The anger, motor for the tyrant's pain? The tears of homeless poets weeping for lost gain? Though life has pain, to give it pride of place is but the errand of a fool. Oh, look at me, I'll prove I have no hurt. Or payback might be all one seeks in life. Or make of all the world the listener at your couch. Perhaps I'll try to live as if an orange tree, for the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Okay, from Leonardo Sciascia, a Sicilian poet. Only the tremor of things reflected, trees reaching skyward, and rapid flights can give me the ardor of time. Quickening. The spring is here and joy is teeming, coloring the world. The city girls are taking off their clothes and colors bloom. The trees are coming, cover streets and fields with seed, but do not shudder mammal-like or scream like birds and man. The glee, the joy, the happiness and unity of life affirmed. The carvings, frills, bedizenments, and knurls tumescent in the sun. And I feel some hope, but just a little. Think perhaps my luck may change. This springtime buoyancy may lead to summer lackadaisy. And I feel no fear, have no oldsters to protect from muggers in the street. My girls are quick and streetwise, so I am now the fragile one. Therefore, I couldn't care, have nothing to protect, am loose and free. The dirt and concrete feed me ease because of all my missing rifts and all the secret carnivore conspiracies to which I do not know the code, and all the pretty things come out to overcome the quicksand fate we face. And one last one. Carl Sagan, A Book is Made from a Tree, Bird's Nest, a Conceit. I've climbed to near the top of it, branch by branch. Some broke beneath my hands and feet, and others were too wrong and weak. From roots to berries, nuts, and fruit and leaves, strange tree. I've counted every gnarl and track and bird hole, every bird and porcupine. With some regret, I note the twigs I've broken off, and also see old paths, a route that led more easily to here, and better views I might have seen. And yet I'm here and have not failed to mark a way and leave a mark. The broken twigs and various falls have calmed the muddy rage to climb. When this tree was a sapling, it promised more, I'm told, and I believe. It was to be a mighty thing. It was to be so green and shady and itself a whole. There was a tree house built upon a time that rose up with the growing tree. I lived in it or visited, slept over, had club meetings, tea parties, loves, but now climb over past its roof, and have less need of shelter there. I can see so far from here, it seems I can see all the world. The forest is broad and thick, the shadowed underbrush thinning out. The tree does not seem to be slowing its growth, and the higher view will be pleasant, I think. But some leaves and branches have faded, crumbled and fallen below. There may be rain or snow, though the weather has always been easy here. But I think I will never climb down to the treehouse to stay there again. No matter the weather, to feel kin to the eagles is more of a thrill than a curse, an answer to prayers or a jape, whatever the tales we live out in our dreams. Thank you.